And he said, do you want me to get on?
That'd be great. Can you just do it for me real quick?
Sure.
How do you pronounce it?
Oh, yeah.
Pilates, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, yeah, if they want to speak, they should speak.
No, I have to read the word, and I want to know how to pronounce it. Vindicated.
Oh, thank you.
You could have asked me that.
What's this?
You're busy. Can you sit down here with Mike? You never I'm gonna break it up.
No, I didn't, but I heard my niece.
I don't want to have to go.
It's like two teenagers have to go through.
All I'll do is just roll
Have to
call.
go and get a bucket of
You
cold
call it
water.
there. 30 seconds. I don't know. I can't see it from here, you know? Okay.
That on Seinfeld.
Oh, I did.
Stop short. Put his. It's mine one.
Library meeting.
This is, Straczynski passed this out
Oh,
for.
my daughter Jill.
That's your committee meeting? Did you hear?
I haven't heard a word yet. I haven't heard a word yet.
Oh, Jane Putsky's gonna give a presentation.
What do you think, Dennis?
Oh, she-
I just heard it last night.
And by the way, Abraham brought in his
Interesting to hear, find out what you hear.
sheriff too.
Yeah.
Three-way race now for sure.
Stuffy in here, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Turn up the fans or something.
But that wasn't it. No, not well. We'll call this meeting of the Waushara County Board of Supervisors order, and we'll start with roll call. Mrs. Krantz. Here. Tim.
Here.
Gasky.
Here.
Weddy.
Here.
Downey. Here. Reckstein.
Here.
Mrs. Plata.
Here.
Mr. Weiss. Here. Mr. Likeness.
Here.
Mr. Crawford. Here. Mr. Kirschner.
Yes.
All are present, and as our amended agenda shows, at 7 o'clock, a public hearing will take place regarding Community Development Block Housing Grant. So at 7 o'clock, so at this time, we'll have a public hearing on it, and I'll turn it over to Deb.
All right, thank you. Earlier this year, the Department of Commerce extended an invitation to all the municipalities to put in a letter of intent that they would be interested in a community development housing block grant. And they don't have you go through the entire application process at that time because it's so extensive. And they don't like to call it a lottery, but that's basically what they do. They do a lottery. And we've been applying for this probably for 10 years, and this time Waushara County was drawn as someone that will be extended an invitation to continue with the application process. We're eligible for $650,000. 15% of that is used for administrative costs. And so I want to just explain a little bit about what the Community Development Block Grant is all about. It's basically a program that deals with low to moderate income housing and purchase assistance. There are all kinds of things that that go with the application process. And Norm and I went on June 22nd up to Stevens Point to listen, to what all the requirements are. And one of the requirements, this is something that we did not have a policy on and we will have to have a policy on, if we are to be, to go any further in this application process. And basically, there are some housing projects that might mean tearing down some housing and replacing with other housing. And in this particular instance, that's not what Waushara County is planning on doing. But you still have to have this policy that if you were to displace people, you have to have this all in place. So this is one of the items that you will be asked later on to approve as a policy. One of the things that we start out with is a bid proposal. Waushara County wouldn't actually be the program administrator for this. We would hire someone to do this for us. And so as far as the bid proposal goes, this has to be sent out to at least 3 firms. I did send it out to 5, and they will come back with, they'll tell you how much they're going to charge to do the administration of it. They'll tell you how much they're going to charge for inspections, and then you have like a competitive bid process. So this is what was sent out to everybody, that it gives a very basic information about what the program is going to be. We're requesting that they give us our proposals back by July 29th, 2010. The executive committee has already scheduled a meeting for August 2nd to review those bids, and by August 5th we would need to give that information to the program administrators of who we have chosen. So this is what was sent out. This is another policy that we would have to have in place, and basically it's acknowledging or saying that you haven't used funds to try to influence somebody that works for the federal government to get this money. Another thing that you'll be asked to pass later on is an ordinance on fair housing. And basically, you know, it's a lot of the equal rights language that we already have for affirmative action and our equal employment and service plans. And so basically this is just an extension of that deals with housing. Another thing that we had to do is put this public hearing together. It has to be published in our paper of record, which is the Argus, and it has to be published 14 days in advance. It actually went in the June 30th edition, and if you look, it's just exactly 14 days. The reason they allowed us to do it that way is actually the paper is available for purchase the night before it's distributed, so it comes out actually on June 29th. So we meet those qualifications. Another thing that is required to get this money is that you have to have a use of force policy, and this the Sheriff's Department has a very extensive use of force policy. This one is a little bit different in that it deals basically with nonviolent civil rights demonstrations, that you're not going to stop anybody from having a nonviolent civil rights demonstration, that you're not going to bar doors, and these are things that is part of the federal rules. Tonight you'll also be asked to pass this resolution, and basically this is where the rubber meets the road. Do we want to do this or not? And so you'll be asked if you're interested and willing to actually submit this application. Norm is I'm doing the paperwork, but Norm's actually the one that has to do the submission when it's all ready to go, and it has to be submitted by August 12th. And here's another policy that we have to have in place. It's a statement of insurances, and you'll see there's just a ton of different things that we have to say that we will do. So we had a citizen participation plan that we've had in place probably for about 10 years already, and so we didn't have to do anything different with that. But you know, it's saying that we're going to have the use of force policy, that we're going to follow all these different rules. So here's the scope of the project. We basically have 3 different things that we're going to focus on. That it's owner occupant and landlord rental units, and their focus is on low to moderate income. So I looked at the American Community Survey, which is the most recent data that we had. If it was a year from now, I would have census data, but the 2006-2008 American Community Survey is the most recent. There's 8,419 owner-occupied housing units and 1,992 occupied rental units located in our county. There were 4,641 vacant units, but unfortunately the data doesn't really tell you what it is, if it's owner-occupied or a rental unit. And I thought this was interesting. Over 72% of our housing units are over 20 years old. I also did go to www.realtor.com, and there are 418 homes for sale right now on the market. We do have a CDBG fund already. It's a revolving loan fund. It's administered by CAP out of Stevens Point, and we received that money in 1992 when the tornado went through our area. We applied for emergency money, and so they've been using that money ever since 1992, and then as people pay it back or as they sell their homes and the money gets paid back, they reinvest it, they re-loan it to other people. Right now the fund balance is under $15,000. And we don't have any other neighborhood improvement activities that are going on other than this one. So you have to come up with a timetable, and so Norm and I went on June 22nd to the mandatory meeting, and on June 25th I put all the paperwork together for the request for proposals and sent the bid information out. On 6/29 was the published notice of public hearing, and tonight we're holding our public hearing. In your resolution, if you adopt the resolution, you're going to appoint the executive committee to coordinate and oversee the plan. So that's part of that resolution. The bids are due on July 29th. We won't actually open them up until August 2nd, so I will have to change that timetable. And it's a 2-year program, so it runs from September 30th of 2010 to September 30th of 2012. If you do not use all the money, it goes back to Department of Commerce. So, for example, in 1992, we received $500,000. We have access to $500,000. At that point in time, only about half of it actually was loaned out. So even though we're getting the money, if people aren't going to use it and take advantage of this, it does go back to the Department of Commerce. So we will do some very heavy marketing to let people know that this is available. Some people ask, what do they mean by low to moderate income? And this would be the median income for Waushara County. So if 30%, it's one person in the household, is $12,350 a year. If there's 4 people in the household, it's $17,600. So the group that is considered low income is the 50% group. The group that is considered moderate income would be the 80% group. So that's where they're targeting, is the 50% to the 80% group. So what would we consider doing? Basically, it's a deferred payment housing rehab loan to low to moderate income owner occupants. What they mean by deferred payment is that they get the money, they pay for the work that they do on their home, but they don't pay that money back until they sell their home, and it's interest-free. So it's a wonderful, wonderful deal for people. If you are a renter, a landlord, you can get a low-interest loan that you do pay back on a regular basis. We can do some handicapped accessibility improvements, and you could do some sewer, water, lateral well, septics for low to moderate income dwellings. And another thing we talked about is direct assistance to low and moderate income households to facilitate and expand home ownership. So you can do a matching of up to 50% of the necessary down payment, and you can also help with closing costs. So those are some other areas that you're able to help with. So I'm probably about 75% through the application process. I shouldn't have any problems meeting the timelines, and just we'll find out what you say tonight. So we're competing for $650,000, and competing probably isn't the right word, because they're telling you if you don't screw up the application process too bad, you're probably going to get the money. So, and 15% allowances for administration. when we first got notified of the mandatory training, I did check around to see kind of what's in the ballpark for administration, and it's somewhere between 11 and 12% is what the program administrators will charge the county for the work. And so then the county's able to retain that difference for unforeseen expenses that might arise because of the program. And now it's time for public comments and or questions. So if you have any questions, or if somebody from the public would like to ask some questions.
This is a public hearing, so if somebody is here for that, go ahead.
Do any of the board members have any questions about it? No.
If not, we'll close the public hearing and we'll continue on with our agenda. Now, at this time, we're going to stand for a silent prayer and then the pledge of allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we're open for public comments, and we have two registered. The first one registered was David Peterson, our sheriff.
Evening. I'll keep this brief, I hope, because I did talk to you last month, and I guess I think I provided everybody with a copy of my notes from presentation I did last month about our records management system. And we're meeting here tonight because there's a representative from Spillman here that's going to give you a demonstration of just what their product can do. Since you guys met last, our need for a records management system has not gone away. As I said last month, this is a costly undertaking. It's still a costly undertaking. And I guess there always are options, and I think that we're pretty good at looking at all the options available. But I can tell you that the longer we wait, the fewer options we're going to have. And I've been thinking about this since last month, and I think historically, we, and I say we by the county board and the sheriff's department, have approached our records management system kind of like a flat tire. When one part of the records management system, maybe it was the jail records management, it wasn't working, we plugged the tire, and we got that working with a software that was available. When our complaint records in the CAD system didn't work, another leak in our tire, we put another plug in the tire. And currently, we got all the leaks fixed, but we got a lot of plugs in our tire. The next leak that we're going to develop is probably going to be in our crime system. The reason I say that is that next week, the next to the last municipality using the crime system for that part of the records management system is going to sign a contract with another vendor. That'll leave us as the last department, the last jurisdiction with that particular vendor. I'm greatly concerned about what happens. Are we going to be able to find a plug for that leak when it goes? I don't know if they're even going to stay in business. Rather than to wait for that to happen, a couple years ago we started putting money away because we could see this coming. For 2010, we took that out of the budget to make budget, so we did not put any money away in our budget this year for that inevitability. right now, what we're looking at is buying a new tire, I guess. You know, keep with the tire scene. And a new tire with no leaks in it, no plugs in it, to serve all of our records management needs with one product that not only can do the job, but the jail records will talk to the sheriff's department records. The state records that we're keeping now with our Badger tracks will be able to talk to the state. Our paper service will be able to talk to them. So it's kind of like a hub with a lot of spokes.
3 minutes on that, and you're
Okay, if I may just compliment you on, I compare this to when you guys, a lot of you were involved in building the jail. You built the jail at the right time. We never boarded inmates out. If you hadn't built the jail, last month we'd had 14 inmates boarded out someplace else every day. And I think that now is probably the right time to move on the records management. Thank you.
Our next person that signed up is Chris Miller, and he's from the Highway Department.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I come before you, as Norm said, I am Chris Miller. I'm a Waushara County resident. I'm also the union president down at the Highway Department. I come before you because we understand that our 4 10-hour days is going to be tabled again. Many of you spoke to me last year at the fair, asked me what I thought of it, and you gave me your opinions on it. We feel that it's a good thing. We went last February, the first week. We had our union meeting. We decided to extend it out like the other counties around us, Winnebago, Adams, Juneau, Green Lake. They all have the same current time. They're running 17 weeks approximately. Some counties are out there 6 months. One county is out there a full year. We ran along, and then we ran into snag when it came to the health insurance. The two got tied together. Why they did, we're not sure. We'd like to match and come up with it. It's a cost savings. Adams did a cost study in 2003 and 2004 based on a 2002 overtime. 2003, they saved 38,000 plus. 2004 on the overtime alone, they've saved 49,000 plus. We know there's been substantial savings to this county by working the 410s. We also understand it's a big asset to the townships that are strapped for cash. We're just asking you to take a final look at this before it's turned down, and we'd like something, and as we spoke to Deb, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, all the issues are off the table. We'll work dates. That's what you want us to do. We're offering you substantial savings. Here it is. Bill's got copies of the Adams County savings. He's got a copy of our proposal. If you'd like it, we could hand them out to you, but Bill's been working with us. I've got 14 members sitting back there that are sincere about this, some that couldn't come, and they're sincere about it too. It's up to you guys. If you want us to work it, we'll do it. We'll start Monday morning. We'll work it this year, but we want a 5-year agreement, and we'll come in the first week of May, first full week of May, and we'll work it to the last full week of September. All we're asking in trade is for the 3 holidays to be paid at 10, and it stays as was currently done before. Most of the proposal is. So if you need copies of it, Bill does have the copies, and I thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. The next item is approval of the agenda. We have this amended agenda. We have a motion by Bill Downey, second by Donna Collada. For the agenda, any discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's been approved. Minutes of our June 8th meeting, how do you find on that?
Move to approve.
Moved by Dennis, second by Mrs. Krentz. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of that say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved. Old business is the highway discussion, possible action regarding the highway, and Deb had some comments on that at this time.
I just wanted to tell you that on July 8th, we received the proposal from the union, a written proposal countering the proposal we had sent them prior to the June County Board meeting. And basically, it's a difference in how we've done, how we handled it last year, and our bylaws have that the Personnel Committee does the negotiations for this committee, or for the county board, and so basically it has to go to the Personnel Committee, and that meeting is July 21st. So it's unfortunate that the union is going to pull the offer, because I think that the Personnel Committee would have seriously looked at it. But anyway, right now I don't have anything to present to you. That's been approved by Personnel.
Joe?
Is this something that should have been done in January and February instead of April?
Yes, and it did. The union gave us a proposal in February, and they wanted to expand it 5 years. And so when the Personnel Committee talked about it, we offered, after some time, I don't remember exactly the date, but we offered to do exactly what we did last summer, this summer. The union wants it for 5 years, though. And expand it from the first week of May to the end of September.
That is something the Personnel Committee has never discussed yet, because it was brought up after our last Personnel meeting and before our next Personnel meeting.
We really should wait until you have a Personnel meeting before we do anything about it.
That would be the normal course of business, would be that.
Mr. Chairman, if this were to be brought up to the Personnel Committee, which is scheduled to meet on I have it in here somewhere,
July 21st, I believe.
July 21st, and it were to be okayed there, with some modifications and so on, would it be possible then to have a special board meeting or a meeting of the committee as a whole to okay it or to deny it or whatever, so that it could be implemented this year?
Anything like that is always possible. If it would help Tom out, yes. Maybe Tom says that this time is too late in the season too. I don't know, but anything like that is possible. Yes.
If you guys meet as the Personnel Committee, then it's going to, if you have any modifications, it's going to have to go back to the union.
Correct.
That's right.
Correct.
So you're talking, no matter what you do, it's going to take you till the end of the month, unless they meet the next day, and then you have to meet again.
That's right. And also, as the Personnel Committee looks at it, there's money involved here. There's 3 holidays, 5-year deal. Is this something that, I haven't looked it over yet, I just heard about it since our last meeting. Is this something that we would present to the county board or not, which we don't know at this time.
There is no action that we can take on this, other than tabling it, I suppose.
We have a motion to table it at this time then?
I so
By
moved.
Everett, do we have a second to the motion?
Second it.
Joe? All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's been tabled. New business, presentations, UW Extension Award. Tom Schmitz.
Good evening. I have the privilege of introducing Tom Schmitz. Tom is the district director for 14 counties in central Wisconsin. I'll get my math right here. Yeah. And Tom works with all the staff as well as the Land, Water, and Education in our case, or the Ag and Extension Education Committee in all of those counties. He's here tonight to present a special award to the chairman of our committee, Joe Piaski. Joe, we need you to come up here.
Thank you, Barb, and Joe, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. I have the opportunity to work in 14 counties in central Wisconsin. I'm based out of Stevens Point. I used to be in an extension office working with colleagues in cooperative extension, but also working with county board members, and I really appreciate the work that you do and the challenges that you have, and tonight it's a pleasure to honor Joe. This award was scheduled to be presented in Milwaukee. Joe wasn't able to join us at our annual Wasatch convention, but I'd just like to take a minute to acknowledge Joe. He's a man from Red Granite. He's a self-employed general contractor. He's been a 38-year member of the Red Granite Fire Department. Served 18 years as the chief, I believe. He has major interests within cooperative extension, our community, natural resources and economic development, and agriculture. He's been on the land use subcommittee of the Land and Water Education Committee since it was organized in 1994. Joe, from everything I hear from the Extension Office, you've provided some great guidance and support over the years, helping the staff there work through how they can best serve the community, and so we really want to acknowledge your support. We've got a couple of things for you, Joe, that I want to present. First, I want to start with the hardware here. This is says University of Wisconsin Extension Cooperative Extension extends deep appreciation to Joe Piaski for 20 years of service in Waushara County, dedicated service and commitment to extension education, the partnership between Wisconsin counties and the university. It's dated June 23rd, 2010. It's signed by David Wilson, the Chancellor of University of Wisconsin Extension and University of Wisconsin Colleges, and Richard Clemmie, our Dean and Director for Cooperative Extension. So, Joe, I'd like to present this to you.
Hold on one second. Batteries are wearing low. Ready. Thank you.
I got a couple of other things for you, Joe, in acknowledgement of the work that you've done. And Barb, would you get these up? For each one of the members of the board, we have the award program for you. This is a book called Distinguished Service. It's written by Aisha Summerstand, one of our previous deans, and it's a book on the work of cooperative extension, so you can learn a little bit more about it, although you have a vast amount of experience. I know it's a little warm out tonight, but perhaps later on this fleece will help to keep you warm. Yeah, maybe in the winter. And then no extension presentation would be complete without a set of extension posters. And we have those, of course, in multicolor, so you can pick whichever color works for you that particular day, Joe. And there's also a couple of pens in there. So I just want to, again, thank you in my role as district director. This is one of my pleasures, is to honor the folks who work with us. And so, once again, thanks, Joe.
Okay, our next presentation is Waushara County Library Directors.
Hi, I want to thank you for your past support. My name is Lisa Eichen, Library Director at Hancock Public Library. I got to say things are going well at Hancock. Last year's weekend, our high situations debate. We're well on our way to that this year. We've been busy. I'm sure everybody tonight will tell you other things that we do at the library that keeps us busy, besides reading programs and activities and quiz and all that other stuff. One of the other things that keeps coming for is the public internet. A lot of summer residents still come into my library and say, wow, you have wireless internet. They find it hard to believe. We didn't want to, but we will. They always like to say, oh, great, I can check my email. And I often wonder, why do you need to check your email while you're on vacation? But regardless, it is still there for them. Besides public internet, one thing the community does look to us for information. We get so many phone calls. I get so many phone calls asking questions, a wide range of things, simple things like how late are you open, and then things like how do you spell the word cougar. I don't know why, but we get a lot of strange questions. I also get questions on what's the local post office number, because in the yellow pages it is a 1-800 number, so we offer that. The other thing I want to say about Hancock is we have microfilm, and in the summer the microfilm users come in. I had a woman last week come in from, she was vacationing in the area, but she was from Indiana. She came in almost every day using it, looking for research for herself. And then also a woman came up from Racine, and she looked for the day and then went home that night. So that's all from Hancock.
Good evening. I'm Linda Helmrich from the Plainfield Public Library, and I guess I want to just point out how proud I am of our community room at our library. As of this year, it has been used 138 times for different organizations in our community, and not only in our community, but I'm pleased to say the UW Extension has been using it for their Youth in Action program that they have for the 6th through 8th grade, and also through the UW Extension there is a group of young, like I would say, older people that are learning English, and they have come a long way. Also, CAP Services has used it, and this past year too, the Census for all their training has used the community room. Our fax machine gets used quite often, and I'm pleased to say we helped a young gal get her financial aid in for today. Also, let's see, our copy machines, being in smaller communities, nowadays people definitely need copies of many things that they have to send through the mail or just for personal reasons. But those are the things that I'm just trying to touch on, that it's not just the books also and the internet, but there's other services each of us has that is used extremely a lot.
Hi, I'm Karen Gums, and I'm representing the Red Granite Public Library. And we're trying some new things this year. We're working with the UW Extension and doing adult programming in May, June, and July, such as Cooking for 1 and 2. And we had a Clutter Buster, and this month we will be having our crock pot cookery coming. For the children, I think we're all in agreement. We're doing our Make a Splash this year. So we're looking forward to some fun Wednesday afternoons with the kids from the community coming in. Anyone is welcome to attend. And last, we are looking for a new logo for Red Granite Public Library. So we have a contest out there. Certainly tell the communities that we're looking. We're going to run this through September 30th so that we can welcome some of our art students, whether it be on all levels through the Wautoma School District, that they can submit, as well as community folks that feel that they have a talent in artwork. So certainly spread that word. We're keeping the ideas open and hoping for some wonderful results.
Well, I'm Jeannie Williamson. I'm from Leon Saxville Library in Pine River. One of the advantages of being down the road is I can say ditto to everything they've said. Our circulations are up, and what we're most proud of is our library is coming now to the end of our 50th anniversary celebration. We've been in the community 50 years. And it has been just a wonderful experience. Many people have come back to see some of the things that we do at the library. And so we've also been able to garner more support from our Saxville half of our library. That was one of our goals, to have them be aware that they have a library there, and our library users are up 50%. So it's almost a 2-to-1 ratio now between the two towns. We have a little contest going on with them. We're also quite proud of our native garden. We had written a grant a couple of years ago, and what's happening now is we have master gardeners that come over to see our plants, sometimes take our seeds so that they can plant them also, but we wanted to show them the importance of what the plants of Waushara County and how valuable they are to the environment. I also want to say thank you for continuing to support us. Libraries like my size really need your support to continue to offer the value that we bring to the community. You know, in an area as small as mine, we are the main community center, and we host a lot of things both related to the library and related to the two towns. And again, thank you.
Hello, I'm Nicole Overbeck, and I am at the Wautoma Public Library. I am also doing a little dual representation tonight because the Poisippi librarian Michael Mellon couldn't be here, and I was just recently the Poisippi librarian. So I think I'll first say a couple brief words about Poisippi. Their circulation went up, skyrocketed last year. We were up to 15% over the last year, and from what Michael told me, the summer reading program is going crazy. They have 70 kids signed up in little Poisippi. And I was going to boast that Watoma had over 70 people for our summer reading program. So we are really getting used. And one of the main emphases I wanted to make at Watoma is that at all of these libraries, and Watoma too, we're really community building libraries. And we really are reaching out not just to our funding city or our funding township. We're getting used by the county. In Watoma, we have 57.5% is from that rural use from the county. And one of the things we're really proud of there is that the building has been remodeled. It's been remodeled now for about a year, and if you haven't been in there, please come in. Come and see what your tax dollars are doing in these little pamphlets we have passed out. Come read those through. The incredible value you're getting for such a little amount of money. It just ranges. I could touch on everything the other librarians said. The computer usage is just a vital communication link. We have people coming in from everywhere, and that's what I'm noticing at Watoma. I'm shocked because, I came from Little Poisippi, and now I come to Watoma, and it's just getting used by so many different people, shared by so many different people. People from out of state come in and just use our internet as guests because they're staying with friends and family at cottages. And the last thing I wanted to say was that we appreciate your patronage and thank you.
But this time, Everett Eckstein is representing the Wild Rose Library.
Okay, I'm reading this because I just got it via email about an hour ago from Linda Steffens. She can't be here because they're having a book signing tonight with Jerry Apps. Programming is a huge part of what we do at the Wild Rose Library. The biggest program is, of course, the after-school program. In the 2009-10 school year, we had 3,656 children participate in this program. It was the first year we hired a coordinator for the program, and that worked very well. Half the funding for the position came from the Heart of Wisconsin United Way. The program is run entirely on donated funds and grants. Local civic organizations, churches, and private donors completely sponsor it. Other programs throughout our year include knitting and crocheting, Pilates, book club, summer reading program, various speakers, readers theater and poetry slam, story time for babies and toddlers, book launches for Jerry Apps, and they're having 2 this year, and the census workers used our library to meet daily for several weeks. We now have 10 public use computers, and we still have a waiting list at times. The library board at Patterson Library would like to thank the county board for all the help that it has given us throughout these years. Thank you.
Bill.
I want to mention an event tomorrow night. It's the Taste of Watoma at the World War II building to help support our Watoma Library. So we all hope you all buy tickets for that.
Competitors together.
Anything more from the library people? Well, thank you very much. Now next is our Register of Deeds, Barb Straczynski.
Well, I included in your agendas were a little overview of what the Register of Deeds does for Washare County, and then tonight I had them pass out a sheet explaining the old and new fees that are going into effect. In the Register of Deeds office in Washare County, we have myself as the elected official, 2 full-time deputies, Michelle Weddy and Patty Nett, and 1 part-time deputy, 12 hours per week, Tanya Nye. They're busy girls and do a lot of work for the county. Just recently, effective June 25th, our flat fee rate went into being due to this change in statutes. The transition went fairly smooth. We had a few glitches, but we made it through the first day. And I took the first 215 documents that we received since June 25th, and I compared what the old fees would have been and what the new fees were. Out of those 215 documents, only 13 of them would have been over the $30. 127 would have been more than one page, which is mostly 2 pages or 3 pages. The cost to record the 215 documents before June 25th was $3,475. The fees we collected after June 25th were $6,450. So it'll help the income for the county, and a lot of those fees are staying right here in the county. They'll improve the land records and our budget, hopefully. Most of our customers went through the change without too much grumbling. There were a few that grumbled, but you're always going to have a few. And they do realize it was the state statute change, not us changing it. And yet this year we plan to take documents in electronically, and the vital records will be also done electronically. So we still have 2 more changes to manipulate yet this year. And I thank you for having me here.
Barb? Happens to be Barb's birthday today. We should just give her a hand. Well, now we have East Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission Annual Report. Eric Hawley, our director.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, board members, for some time on your agenda this evening. It occurred to me sitting there that I believe this is the 5th year I've been coming up here and making rounds to all the counties and being director of the agency. And I think we've come pretty far in that time. It's starting to get easier to come and talk to boards like this. I'm not as apprehensive, and I truly believe we've got some good things to share with you year after year. The challenge, obviously, is in these tight budget times is to kind of maintain, if not improve that. So we still feel a bit challenged on a day-to-day basis in that respect. I'm not going to give you a lot of background on the commission. I think most of you know what we're all about. An advisory entity created under executive order, located in Menasha. Our budget's still about $1.9 million. Only about 40% of that is local levy from our member counties and communities. For 2010, Waushara County's levy was about $50,000, just a tick over that. Representing the county on the commission is your chairman, Norm Weiss. Mr. Larry Tim is a new member. We welcome him, and he's just kind of fresh into things, but I'm sure he'll appreciate being on board with what we're doing. And Dwayne Federitz is the governor's appointee. I'm going to talk about a few things in the annual report, which I handed out, and there are some extra copies up on the stand here if any of the public wants that. I know you might have received copies before, so I'd ask that you leave extra ones either with the clerk or put them up on the counter at the zoning office and let the general public take those when they come in. I think we've been quite successful over the past year. I'm not going to refer to things point by point in that document, obviously, but a number of things, I guess, in terms of the big picture, regional things, which I certainly believe we're charged with, have been accomplished in the last year or so. We did receive approval last year on the Wautoma Silver Lake Sewer Service Area Plan update, which is a long-range plan looking at water quality and cost-effectiveness issues for extending sewer in communities. We've got about 20 of those throughout the region, so we update them on a rotating basis. We were very successful in implementing the Regional Orthophotography Program for the 2nd time as a consortium, so many of our counties benefited from that, and that photography is probably getting processed as we speak. We've really come a long way with what we call the Fox Wisconsin Heritage Parkway Initiative. It only touches a small part of Waushara County, we know, but I think it's got bigger impacts not only to the region but the state as a whole in terms of potential for tourism, economic development. We've got a series of paddles that a group has been doing up and down the river. I hope to join them when they get towards Appleton a little more, where the water's a little faster. I've done some of the upper Fox, and it's a little bit slow. They are well on their way to achieving a National Heritage Area designation through the National Park Service, and we expect that to be approved by Congress this fall, hopefully. And that will put us on the map as the first and only National Heritage Area in Wisconsin, so I think that's something to be proud of. And then they formed a nonprofit entity to do fundraising to maintain and manage that parkway. So you'll hear a lot more details about that as it wraps up a bit in terms of planning later this year. Something that hasn't affected you immediately, but we're starting to see some impacts in the last few years. One of my staff has been very successful at creating a pilot regional Safe Routes to School program through DOT. That's been funded the last couple of years through a $185,000 grant award with no match of local levy. And she and one of our other staff has done such a great job that we are expecting, it's not signed in ink yet, but when that funding gets renewed later this fall, it's going to go up to $450,000. We don't know if they'll be able to maintain it for a number of years, but we certainly hope so. And there is a map in the exact middle of your annual report showing the school districts involved in that regional program. That was a snapshot in time when we printed that. Since then, we now have the Berlin School District and the Weyauwega School District that have joined the regional program. So some folks on the eastern end of your county are going to benefit from that, and we hope to expand that. Also, we've recently been successful in finding some funding and using some commission levy dollars to do groundwater recharge mapping within our region, a valuable piece of data that we do not have. We're going to be focusing next year on Outagamie, Winnebago, and Calumet counties, but we do have plans and should be able to afford to pull it off for the remainder of the counties in our region in the second phase. So that's something that you can look forward to. On the local scene, we continue to try and provide as much technical assistance as we can in between all the regional projects. As you know, over the last year or so, we helped complete 4 local smart growth plans, did the county background report for the county level plan. We also finally, at the last board meeting, got the all-hazard mitigation plan approved, although we're waiting for FEMA and WEM, crossing our fingers here, for the final approval letter, but we expect that to come through. We do try and keep in touch with this county as well as all of our counties in certain areas in terms of coordination or just keeping in the know of what's going on. So we try and serve where we can as ad hoc members like your Land Use Advisory Committee, the New Land Information Council. I've started to attend some of the quarterly resource agency meetings that Mr. Schumacher holds and those types of things. We do some other specific local projects where we can. Including some zoning and comp plan map updates. We've done some census mapping for this county as well as others. Our staff assists with the land records modernization plan, and I hope to have some time, and I owe Mr. Kirschner a phone call here shortly on some park site planning. I haven't forgot, just in case you were wondering. As far as what the future holds, we feel that we've got some opportunities to, again, expand into some new areas in terms of regional programs. We did apply to EPA last year for a $1.6 million 3-year program grant for brownfields. It did not get funded, unfortunately, but we are going to resubmit that, and I mention that because we will need the county board probably to pass a new resolution in support of that coalition effort, but we hope we can be successful the second time. We are also looking at applying for a HUD Federal Livability Grant, a new program, and we're working with partners including UW Extension through the CLUE Center in Stevens Point, New North, and Bay Lake Regional Planning Commission on a collaborative effort which we hope will get many of the smaller communities more involved in sustainability and livability issues which relate directly to many components of planning. We expect hopefully this fall we'll also be receiving a $150,000 grant from DNR to have an aquatic invasive species coordinator position for the western part of Lake Winnebago and the Pool Lakes all the way up to Fremont and the Wolf River. That'll touch part of your county and receive some benefits from that. And a couple other things. The 2011 technical assistance forms that we send out requesting those small-scale projects will be out in about early August, so keep an eye out for that. If you've got small-scale planning projects your community need help on, let us know and we'll see what we can do to get to those. And then on August 27th, hopefully all of you has received one in the mail. If not, there's some extras here, but we're trying to get back into doing some of these little mini conferences and other small educational events. We've got one scheduled on comprehensive planning, talk about implementation, some of the new law changes and such. So we hope to see you there. Lastly, I want to make mention that our commission continues to work on development of a strategic plan. We've never had one. We've never had a mission or a vision. I guess it's always been assumed that that's spelled out in the state statutes, but we're a very versatile agency, and I think it's time that we talk to one another about that and figure out maybe what some of our focus should be. So we're hoping if you've got some thoughts, please get those through your commissioners to us as we prepare that. Hopefully by year's end we'll have that. And I do want to tie that to and acknowledge some of the funding issues out there as well. I don't think it'll be a very strategic plan unless we talk about the short and long term about how we get revenue in the future and give the services that we need to the counties. Speaking of money and budget, to end things on a high note, our steering committee is going to meet July 21st, and then our full commission at the end of this month to establish our levy. I'm going to use my crystal ball here a little bit because I don't know what direction they're going to go, but I can assume hopefully correctly. We'll see. But if you remember, in 2010, we reduced our overall levy by 4.8%. Unfortunately, it didn't impact Waushara County a great bit because of the way it's apportioned out. But for 2011, we're looking at a budget reduction probably in the neighborhood of about 3.5% overall. That will actually translate into about an 8.7% reduction in Waushara County's levy, about $4,400. So we'll see if those words stand true. But John's nodded his head. He likes that figure, yeah. But I think that's all I really wanted to say, and again, appreciate the time and support that this board has given us and myself as an agency, and we hope to continue to do a lot of good things out there. If there's any questions, be more than happy to answer those.
Thanks, Eric. Very good.
Very good. Thank you.
Now, at this time, we're going to have Records Management. Spielman Technologies is going to give us a presentation, and this is on the system for the Sheriff's Department.
I'd have to come up by route.
Just hand me the microphone.
Well, my name's Corey Taylor. I represent Spielman. No, we had it. There we go. If I start talking again, it goes off. We know we have problems. My name's Corey Taylor. I represent Spielman Technologies. I work the state of Wisconsin and the state of Illinois. We've been working with the Sheriff's Office for quite a long time. Over 5 years, I was told today. That's longer than I've been around. But we're excited about the opportunity to be here, show you a little bit about what it is that the Sheriff's Department's looking for, and why things that will interest you guys. I want to give you a little background on who Spielman is. Spielman is a privately held company. We're based out of Salt Lake City. We've been doing public safety software for 30-plus years now. We're a privately held company. We're debt-free, which in this environment, in this economic status, is a good thing. Why do you care if we're debt-free? Because one of the biggest reasons is you're going to select a vendor, and you want to select a system, a tire, as the sheriff said, that's going to be around for years to come. And Spielman is 100% dedicated to public safety. That's all we do. 100% of our money goes into research and development for public safety officials to make their jobs easier and to make the community safer. A lot of our competitors and a lot of other vendors you'll see have multiple angles that they work, and we are 100% dedicated to public safety. On a side note, Spielman's been voted one of the top companies to work for in Utah the last 3 years in a row. We're very proud of that. We're very excited to. It makes your dealings with us a lot better. Happy employees. So let's talk a little bit about who Spielman is. We have over 800 clients across the country that have been using our software for, like I said, nearly 30 years now. and closer to home is our 60-plus clients in the state of Wisconsin. The sheriff talked about their current vendor. Spillman has a very, very strong users base in the state of Wisconsin. We have a users group that meets on a quarterly basis, and they get together and they talk about the ways that they utilize the software. They do trainings. They talk about the things that are coming down as far as state initiatives and what Spillman needs to do to be ahead of the curve on getting those interfaces and those state initiatives in place. Our next meeting is next month in Vilas County, and we do that in the summertime because it's really nice up there. But the users put on that meeting. Spillman comes, we send trainers, we send account managers, we send people to assist them, but it's 100% driven by the users. They have email chains that go out all the time when there's an issue. They say, hey, how are you guys accomplishing this? This is a new issue that we've come up with. And so because we have such a strong users base, they keep current on the software. We have initiatives with the state with the WIGIS and the Badger Tracks and the time. We have those interfaces that are already in place for the sheriff's office so they can come on board and immediately take advantage of having those interfaces. And what that means is that when a deputy pulls somebody over and they need to search on Joe Blow, they're not just searching their local database. They are searching their local database, but they're also searching the national database, and they're also searching the state database. And they're doing it with one entry. They're not having to enter that into multiple systems to get all those different returns. You enter it to one system, it goes out and gets all the information it can, and it brings it back into one location. Another benefit to having as many Spillman customers as we do in the state is one of our products we call Insight, and Insight is designed specifically to do that. The state takes a data dump, and they take the information. They say, hey, where's all your bad guys? Who do you have wants, and who do you have warrants on? And allows those agencies to search for them. Spillman's taken that a step further, saying we don't want to just know who has wants and who has warrants. We want to know everything you've got on this bad guy, because we know they don't just stick within their jurisdictions, they move around. And so if you have an individual that's known to assault police officers, for example, and somebody from the county pulls him over and they search, and they've never seen the individual, but somebody from Wapaka County has had experiences with them in the past, they can search and find out that this individual is known to assault police officers. This individual tends to flee, whatever the case may be, whatever information they have, you can take advantage of it without having to learn that the hard way. So those are some of the benefits to having a vendor that has such a strong presence in the state. A couple things that I want to touch on. Return on your investment is not my favorite title for this slide, but when it comes to purchasing a new RMS system, a new records management system, it is an investment. It isn't cheap. We realize that. Spillman has, even in this economy, Spillman has experienced significant growth. Last year we grew over 15% over the year before, and we've continued to grow. We've never had a down year as far as we've been in business, and one of the reasons we do that is because it's a long-term investment. The sheriff, Lieutenant Bainey, nobody wants to be here in 5 years asking for more money to buy another RMS system. And Spillman, the way we do our licensing structure is designed so you will never have to do that. We issue a site license. You will never have to come back to Spillman for licensing. You'll never have to come back to us for upgrades. We have agencies that have been on the system for 20 years, and if you can imagine what computers were like 20 years ago, it's a far cry from where we're at today. But those agencies are using the very latest and greatest technology and have never paid another dime to do an upgrade. They don't come back to Spillman when we release a new product and say, hey, we really want this new product, but now we have to come back for more money. The site license allows you to do that, and our licensing structure allows you to do that. So something to consider as you go through this. Another big thing that that you may take for granted is that Spillman has never failed an implementation. We have 100% successful implementation, and that includes project management, team training. Everything that we do, we're committed to making sure the implementation is a success. Some of the things to talk about, and the sheriff talked about plugging some of the holes in the different systems. Some of the things to point out with Spillman is we're talking about real-time data, real usable data that is spread throughout the entire system. Data sharing capabilities. Post 9/11 data sharing is a big push in law enforcement. You guys are surrounded by Spillman agencies who use our software and could take advantage of those things. A single database, streamlined processes, which is what our system will allow you to do, and we'll go into that in a little bit. But the end result for the county is increased efficiency, officer safety, better quality of life for the citizens because more proactive policing, and we can reduce crime. That's what the system and the technology and the data that we have access to will allow. So we'll talk about integration. Spillman is designed 100% from the ground up to be an integrated system. We have a single database that houses all your name, all your addresses, and all your vehicle information. From that database, all the other entities, whether it's dispatch, whether it's records, whether it's the officer out in the field, access that same information. If you're dealing with the same bad guy, you all need to have that same information. And so that's how Spillman is designed, and that's how Spillman is set up. If you run Corey Taylor in the jail, you're going to get the same information if you ran Corey Taylor out in the car, or if dispatch runs my name, you're going to get the exact same information, and that information that is relevant to dispatch is relevant to the law enforcement officer out in the field, is also relevant to the correction officer. So that's how Spillman's designed, that's how it's set up, and it also, as we'll show, it cuts down on the duplicate data entry. When somebody enters something on my name, it goes throughout the entire system. So that when they're booked in jail, everything that they've compiled on me from the time someone made the 911 call to the time I'm booked in jail, all that information is there. It auto-populates for the jailer. So when he books me into jail, he takes my fingerprints, he takes my mug shots, he does my assessments, and I'm good to go. He doesn't have to put my address. He doesn't have to put my age, my name, my weight, my height. All that's already in the system and is populated for him. That's the value of having a completely integrated system. I'll go through this kind of quickly because it's everything starts with a computer-aided dispatch. Everything starts with your CAD call. And the information that the dispatchers have is vital to assessing the needs of that call and determining how they're going to respond to it. So we have the real-time data flow. That information that they're pulling from that central database is vital. And I'm going to show you a screenshot. Here's what our CAD screen looks like. And the dispatcher has entered in the complainant information, and you see what the first thing that comes to your mind is the red, right? There's alerts on this individual. So the person who called 911 has a warrant. That's something that the dispatcher would like to know. That's something that they want to pass along to the officers responding to that call. And it's highlighted in red form. It's easy to see. It's easy to use. And they can see what exactly has taken place on this call. We talk about a mobile solution, which is the laptop out in the car, giving the officers the ability to have the data at their fingertips, to be able to search for people, to be able to do their reports while in the car and not back in the office. They can actually complete their reports in the car, saving them drive times, giving them presence in the community, and what's available to them. So this is what an officer would see in the car. You can see all the CAD calls. He can see the addresses. He can see exactly what's happening with all the other officers and deputies that are on shift at that time. He can see his calls, which will automatically go to the top. And then as he's assigned to a call, the first thing you see is the red again. He's assigned to 401 Elder Street, and there's known drug use at that house. He sees that right away. That he didn't put any information in there. The dispatcher put all that information in there. He sees it right away, so that he knows what he's expecting when he rolls in on scene. Very huge for officer safety. And then all the call comments, as they change, he never has to pick up the radio. They all come to him audible and read it right across the screen, highlighted in red as the latest. So they have up-to-date information. Any responding officers, any backup, they have all this information without ever tying up your radio lines, keeping the lines of communication open. Attempts to locate some bolos. This is another big deal when you talk about the sheriff's department and the cities around using the software. They can send out Amber alerts. Be on the lookouts. Attention, watch out for this car. Anything system-wide will go to everyone who's applicable, and they can see that information right away. This is the guy that dispatch called. From the mobile screen, they see Adam Flutie, and the first thing you see is known to assault police officers. He's got drug ties. He's got lots of warrants. This is a really bad guy. And what information do they have on him? It's already populated. Nobody had to enter this in the system. The dispatchers, it was already in there from records, from all the other previous dealings. The information is there, and it's available. The records management piece it's what it talks about in your agenda, but records management makes the whole thing work. It allows you to do electronic reporting. It allows the officers to submit their reports. Once he's done with the report in the car, he clicks submit and automatically sends it to his supervisor. No printing it out. No putting it in an inbox. It's automatically sent to his supervising officer for review. Once the officer reviews it, just like in an email, you click and send it on, it goes to the appropriate people. Everything's done seamlessly. Everything's done without having to come into the office, and it makes the process very slick. And this record screen just shows exactly the same thing you saw earlier out in the car. It's a more intense version. Allows them to do everything they need to do in records department, submit their reports, submit to the state, submit to the national databases without having to go back and redo everything that they re-enter all the information that's been gathered. One of the things that's unique about Spillman, because we have that single database, is our involvements. The Spillman system will automatically create involvements for people, vehicles, and addresses in the system. So anytime you pull up Adam Flutie, you can see the things he's involved with. If you click on that 2000 Infiniti, it'll show you everything that car's been involved with, every accident, every citation, every individual. It'll show you everything they've got. If you go and click on the gun, it'll show you everybody that's ever been tied to that gun, and the same thing with the address. It gives the people in the law enforcement community the tools that they need to be proactive, to be efficient, and gives them all the information they can so they can do the best job they can to keeping the community safe. Pin mappings is another phenomenal tool. Anything you can search on in the system, you can pin map. So if you want to know all your sex offenders, you can pin map all your sex offenders, and then you can find out, well, where are all my schools and public buildings, and you can determine how close those individuals live to a school, to a public park, for example. You can do anything you can search, you can pin map. So if I want to know how many accidents are happening at this intersection at what time of the day, I can pin map all that. All that information is available so that the sheriff's office can begin to be proactive in their policing and start to make a difference in the community even more efficiently. We talk about decision-making tools, and that's what data is. That's what Spillman, everything we do in the system is to make decisions. It's for command staff. It's for the jail. It's for everybody to decide how are we going to affect our crime rate? How are we going to make our citizens safer? How are we going to do a better job at proactive policing? And that is through information, data, and being able to track that information through a state-of-the-art RMS system. Are there any questions for me at this time? I kind of went through it fast, but software tends to bore people, so I don't want to get too deep into it. But are there any questions that you want to throw my way? Yeah.
Is this compatible with the system that we're using now as far as information? Will our county maps and our county information all work with this system?
As far as what? Your current
Like
RMS system?
Our GIS, our mapping, our records management, everything?
We'll work with your GIS department where we're going to replace the records management. So we can take that information and we can use it and put that information into the system. But what we're talking about is replacing all those little patches that the sheriff talked about to the tire and making it one system that all talks together and all coordinates. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yep. So all the information that your GIS department's put together on parcel layers, all those layers are done in ESRI, which is the industry standard for geobasing. That's what we utilize, tap right into all the work they've already done.
Is this going to be workable with the squads in the villages and outlying areas also?
Absolutely. We've got a proposal that we put together for the Public Safety Committee to include all the police departments within the surrounding county, within the county. So
is that costly to them?
Not at all. The system is, and the sheriff can talk about that, but the system is designed to be what we call a host shared environment. I think there's 18 or 19 counties in the state that are using the software. The sheriff's department actually hosts the server, and they have the majority of it. But then we allow these agencies to share. They come on they have to pay some licensing fees, but it's not significant. It allows them to share the information that they need to with one or two man police departments aren't going to be able to go out and purchase a tier 1 vendor when it comes to RMS. So we want to allow them to tie in, because the sheriff's department, these bigger entities, they want their information, and they want to be able to share that information throughout the entire county. So I think, I don't remember the cost, but those individual agencies have received a cost proposal for them to come on board, yes.
Is there anything in this system that would work with fire departments to get the information to the fire trucks through like a mobile data terminals, or
absolutely
with the 911 with the medical dispatch to get the information back and forth?
Absolutely. There's with our mobile product, you can put it in any car you want, whether it's a fire apparatus or if it's an ambulance, and they'll have that same information on the calls. It gives them the address of the call they're assigned to, any ongoing information that is happening, if it's a car accident, if it's a gunshot wound, whatever it is. That will continue just like it will with the law enforcement officers, absolutely. And it's not something, if they decide they want to come on in a year or 2 years, that the system will allow them to plug and play, as the term may be.
And they can also look on the internet and see tonight's presentation also.
And because of the site license that we talked about, if there are agencies that don't want to come on right now, you can give them view-only access, and they can log on and they can query the names. They can do a lot of different things within the system without ever paying a licensing fee. That's part of your fees. That didn't sound right. That's part of your licensing structure. Did you have a question?
You answered it already.
Okay. Anything else?
Thank you very much. Now, our next one is discussion of possible action item, and this action item for the next one is motion to allow Public Safety Committee to pursue record management updating activity. In other words, let's look into it. Bill, make a motion to
Pursue the information.
Okay, do we have a second? Second by Everett. Any discussion on it?
In pursuing this information, is the Public Safety Committee going to look at other options or put bids out, or is this the only program out there, or what's going on with it?
There are other programs out there, and we're gonna have to, with the Public Safety Committee and the sheriff, sit down and see what other ones would work. We're gonna have to look into those also, and the price, I have no idea what it is. I heard a ballpark figure one time, and if that is about what it's gonna be, they're gonna have to go out on bids, because it's not cheap. We got a motion and a second to let the Public Safety Committee look into it. Do any more discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved. Motion to approve workplace violence zero tolerancing policy and procedure. That was in your packet.
I move to approve that procedure.
Dennis, do we have a second? Second by Mike Lakeness. Any discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved. Now, consideration and possible action on the following resolution and ordinances.
Well, we got resolution 25-7 of 10. It's a request for elimination of potential of Asian carp spread throughout the Great Lakes and surrounding watersheds.
Motion by Joe Piaski, second by Mrs. Krentz.
To approve?
Approve.
Any discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved.
Then we've got resolution 26-7 of 10. It's a resolution allowing participation in the Wisconsin County Conservation AIDS Grant Program.
Motion by Everett for approval.
Approve?
Second by Donna Collada. Any discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved.
Then we've got resolution 27-7 of 10. It's a resolution authorizing submission relating to the County of Waushara's participation in the Wisconsin Community Development Block Grant Housing Program. The resolution includes a residential anti-displacement or relocation plan, requirements relating to the CDBG funding, certification for contracts, grants, loans, and cooperative agreements, and statement of assurances.
That was handed out separate with the amended agenda, so.
That was shown tonight on the screen too.
I make a motion to approve that resolution.
Okay, motion by Dennis, and second by Bill Downey to approve. Any more discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's been approved.
And we've got resolution 28-7 of 10, a resolution authorizing the state asset forfeiture funding to be used to subsidize the Waushara County K-9 units.
Motion to approve.
Motion been approved by Donna Collada, second by Mike Lakeness.
No, it does not change the budget.
But I thought all addendums had to have, in our bylaws, all the budget addendum. I don't remember.
Doesn't change the budget.
Okay, well, okay. It doesn't matter. I mean. Okay.
Voice vote or roll call vote? No, roll call vote has been requested, so we have a voice vote. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved.
Then we have Resolution 29-7 of 10. It's a resolution for placing an advisory referendum question on the November 2nd, 2010 ballot, to wit, should the Wisconsin Constitution be amended to prohibit any further transfers or lapses from the Segregated Transportation Fund?
Motion by Bill Downey to approve, seconded by Donna Collada to approve. This will go in a referendum this fall, November election, so that they cannot take the money like they have been doing it, but they will probably take some other money, so it makes a difference. Any more discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved.
Then we have ordinance number 525, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 6 of the Washara County Code relating to retention of records.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Donna Collada to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Dennis Weddy. Any discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved.
Then we have ordinance number 526, an ordinance amending Washara County zoning maps pursuant to the authority granted in Chapter 58 of the county code. The zone change for Rosbo Trust, the town of Springwater.
Motion by Joe Piaski and second by Kirschner. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved.
And then ordinance 527, an ordinance amending Washara County zoning maps pursuant to the authority granted in Chapter 58 of the code. The zone change for Klemp Industrial LLC in the town of Vernon.
Motion by Bill Downey to approve, second by Larry. Any discussion? Larry Crawford, that is. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved.
We have ordinance 528, an ordinance adopting section 106.50 of the statutes relating to fair housing.
Do I have a motion on it? Motion by Donna Collada to approve. Do I have a second on it? Second by Mrs. Krentz. Any discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved. John's got an announcement for our next board meeting.
Mr. Kirschner has informed us that he's going to be hosting our next board meeting in August in Oklahoma at the community center there, the library.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
At-
The
at for
library, the
Coloma.
community center.
Will there be treats?
Dinner? Only if you're bringing them.
Good one.
Okay, anything else for the future agenda items?
Adjourn.
Motion by Everett to adjourn. Do we have a second? Second by Larry Tim. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's been approved.